Hi, everyone. We are diving into March 2026. Thank you for joining me. In January, we look at the programs that's put onto us by other people, by the world. And in February, we look at the stories that we inherited from our bloodline, our families. In March, we are going to talk about the way that we've created ourselves. It's those inner critics, insecurities or habits or judgments that we've owned for so long that they feel like part of our identity. There's a difference between the way that belongs to others, that they instilled the programs onto us, or the way that we created ourselves. For example, let's say that you're dating this new guy. Your friend meets this guy, and somehow whatever he said, um, maybe a comment that he's made in the conversation, reminded her of a past experience she's had with another guy, and she's had this trauma from it. And being a good friend of yours, she wanted to warn you about this new guy you're dating, but in reality, she's projecting her own trauma onto you. And so then you would feel triggered in a different way, because you would feel like both of you are feeling insecure, but it's derived from a different experience, different story. So on the other hand, you would feel like, I don't see that in this guy. Like, should I still trust this friend? Like, where is she coming from? You start to have trust issue with this friend. Just an example, but you can see kind of like the nature of the story, the pattern, or the limiting belief is different here. And so that's what we're going to be dealing with in this spread. So the this is a timeless reading. So even though we're talking about March 2026, however, if you somehow come to this reading and you are in resonance with the energy of the reading, so trust that resonance. And without further ado, we're going to dive into the reading. So we have 3 cards, and we're just going to talk about the first card, which is the Moonlight Explorer. So this is a sugar glider, and then the crystal that's paired with it is the clear quartz crystal. The second card is Threats of Renewal, and it's the spider or tarantula, and the crystal is flower agate. The third card is Air and Awareness. It's this horse. It's doing a behavior that's called cribbing in horse. And the crystal here is the labradorite. Okay, so please pick your card, and we are going to go into the reading starting from the first card. So the first card that we have here is the sugar glider. It's a nocturnal animal that's often active at night while the rest of the world is asleep. And this represents, in the card meaning, this represents shadows. The part of yourself that you might be hiding. Some people refer it to like the dark side of yourself. You usually keep those tucked away because perhaps you become numb, perhaps you feel a little bit ashamed to look at it, perhaps looking at it would bring up anger, just negative feelings, thoughts, and traits that you might have, and you just feel uncomfortable to confront it. But the number 4 on this card talks about stability, foundation, and it might indicate that you have built your safety, a false sense of safety around hiding or avoiding those part of yourself that you don't want to look at, which is your shadows or your dark side. But keeping yourself away from the wholeness of you, because both the light and dark side of yourself, those are the wholeness of you. And if you are avoiding the part of some aspects of yourself, then you're not whole, then you're not authentic. And in time, it's going to feel like it's a heavy weight on yourself because you've been trying to avoiding it. And so, but then it's already part of you. So it's impossible to escape it. Clear quartz here is our stone. I like to think of it as a magnifying glass. It helps you see clearly what you've been avoiding. So this month, try to look at your shadow with curiosity and do this alone. You're not going to go and tell everyone that, oh, I'm doing this shadow work. I'm trying to heal myself of my shadows. No, you merely want to just look at it. We are not even trying to force ourselves into healing ourselves through the experiences that have created this aspects of ourselves, but we're merely trying to observe and look at it and understand it, because you can only heal yourself when you understand what is the essence of that part of yourself. So ask yourself this month, what am I so afraid will happen if I just look at this part of myself? And that fear would be like the veil. If you could go past that veil to look what's behind it, that would really give you the breakthrough. So that's what I have for you, card number 1. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, bye bye. So card number 2, what we have for you here is the tarantula. So spiders do this, like weaving, breaking its webs, and then reweaving. And it happens when they're growing. So they have to leave their old skin behind. It also happens when there's something wrong with their environment or something wrong with their food. They get stressed out and they would do this as well. But in any ways, that they know that something has to change and they're okay with just starting over. And this card, what I see here is indicating something about your perfectionism. So many of us we either stay stuck in the situations that we're in because we are afraid to waste the time that we already put in. So perhaps you are starting on a creative project, and with anything that you've never experienced before, or perhaps no one else in this world has done before, there's got to be trial and error you have to go through. But you might be so afraid of wasting your time on it that you're afraid to make mistakes. And whenever you make mistakes, you feel like you're in failure. And so then you would get disappointed, you would get frustrated, and eventually you give up. But then you have to understand that this process of creation, there's going to be happy and uncomfortable moments, and those are really your emotions. They are rooted in your triggers, right? So those triggers are your own. But the universal truth is that you're creating something, and the universe is playing a role in this creation, and you're utilizing the creativity of the universe inside of you to bring something into form. And that, I would say, that is the perfection. Perfection is not fixating on what is right or wrong from your perspective. What is right is that you're creating something, and that is the truth. So you have to remove yourself from the feeling of perfectionism. Otherwise, you would just procrastinate. Another situation that I can think of is perhaps you've been in this relationship for a long time, this intimate relationship for a long time. You've invested your time, and you could say that the most precious years of your life invested in this person, and you feel like you cannot leave, otherwise you would lose everything. This card is also telling you that stop stop staying in situations that make you miserable because you're afraid to lose what you've invested in. And number 24 is the card number. It reduces to 6, which is a number that is tied to balance and responsibility. Your real responsibility right now here is to your own balance, not to a version of yourself that is no longer serving you. The crystal flower agate is a great reminder of the blooming process. You cannot bloom if you're still clinging to the old dry skin of who you used to be. So this month, give yourself the permission to unravel something that is not working and be okay with starting over. So number 2, that's my reading for you today, and thank you for joining me. Until next time, bye bye. So card number 3, we have the air and awareness here, and also the crystal labradorite. The behavior here is the horse cribbing. It's a habit where horses, they would try to suck in air to get a quick hit of feel good chemicals like dopamine for humans. And they do that when they're stressed or when they're very bored. And it feels good for a second, but it doesn't really do anything else. It doesn't really solve the reason why they are stressed. So when we see that reflected in humans, this is about those habits that we use to numb ourselves out. So, for example, you might be trying to um, numb out your anxiety by scrolling on your phone, or by overworking, or even criticizing yourself, judging yourself. So those will be things that perhaps you do when you are stressed out, when you are in a difficult situation. And the number 40 brings us to number 4, and it's like it's like a reminder to look at what is the reality, what is the truth of our habits. Are they actually supporting us, or are they just separating you from the wholeness of yourself? So labradorite is a stone that would have those flashes. It would have like those colorful flashes when you hold it up to the light. I don't have enough light here, so but then this stone, they usually have those flashes, and they're beautiful to look at under enough light, and or the right amount of light. And this is also an indication of the awareness that we're looking for. You want to, for this month, instead of reaching for I guess quick fix, or like that dopamine fix, you're encouraged to take a pause and notice the emptiness you're trying to fill. And when you bring your own light to your own awareness, your own light to the habit, then that habit loses its power over you. So looking at whatever you're trying to avoiding, that situation you're trying to avoiding, that stressful situation, face it. Yes, there may be fear, but there's also growth when you cross over that veil of fear. And then you would have this sustainable lightness in you. Instead of having to go for quick fixes, then you will become more aware and more practiced in how you can become lighter in heavy situations. Okay, so card number 3, that's my reading for you today. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, bye bye.